Okay, much quieter, much better. Okay, so we're doing December 20th, and you can see here a primary and 3 supplemental are coming in. I already took 2 cards from the offensive action and shuffled it in to the allied action. So here's a 20th, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so that's those are all getting mixed in. And then we have some reserve units that need to come in. And then we'll go to, we'll take it slow and go through the player order, turn order. I do have a rule that I remember that the German units automatically deploy if 2 days have gone by. So, for example, these guys came out on the 19th, I believe, and so yes, they did. So on the 21st, they'll automatically deploy. So I don't necessarily have to spend an impulse or a card to deploy them. So we'll see how that shakes out. One of the things I'm learning about this game is those reinforcements are all in the north. So the north is definitely a heavy push in this game, way more so than the south is. So I do find that interesting, and it's definitely a significant part of the strategy here if we were to do this again. Okay, so let me grab, so you can see the Allies are getting a bunch of units for the cavalry here. It's for the 7th Division. And I think the 7th Division is the new division we added to the deck. So I don't think they exist at all. And if I look over here, the 7th, well actually I'm sorry, 7th Corps is going to be this guy right here. So they're going to be added to the north, which makes sense because we're adding to the north. And then we're getting a few new units here. So we're going to get a new infantry, and we get a new, what the heck is that? Sorry about that. That's what, the 53rd? Is it like an HQ unit or something? Because I don't think there's any other division that's even remotely like this. Clearly it's part of the 7th Army. So we might be getting a new card ourselves. So let's go over here and check. All right, so we get all of our primary cards, of course. And I do need to check because sometimes I put them in the wrong pile. All right, so we got December 20th. 1 supplemental card is being added, so let's figure out which one that is. And yes, it is this 53rd Corps. It is this new Corps. So it's going into this pile. So now we're going to shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And so I'm going to look at the calendar here. I know this is off camera, but the Allied command level is 3. And the German cards are only going to be, no, it's 8. Good. At least our deck is getting a little bigger for our impulses here. We're going to get to draw 8 cards from our supplemental stack. And so let's do it. So I'm going to draw 1, and then skip 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8. Just because I'm just factoring in that I may not have shuffled it perfectly. And then we're going to take all of these and shuffle them with the primaries. And then we will draw 6 for our hand. What else do we need to know? December 20th is when fuel shortages are going to start happening for us. So that's not good. We do have a fuel token. You can actually see it here. So we're going to be able to use this to cancel a fuel shortage problem. It's been so long since I read that rule, like what does a fuel shortage do to us? I'd have to go back and read it again, but we'll just deal with it whenever we get it. Okay, 1, 2, or 1, skip 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, we got our 6 cards. There's our draw pile, and let's get ready to rumble. All right, December 20th. We do have a victory condition on September 20th. We have to have at least 11 victory points. So it's less than 11 is a loss. If we do, if we somehow have more than 40, we win. So, and the number you need to win keeps going up quite a bit as each turn goes by. And the number you need to lose does eventually start going up, but we are given a few extra turns here before that happens. Although Allied air interdiction is going to start happening soon, so that's not a good one. Okay, so let's just go in order here. We have the reserve phase. We did this. We moved our day units to reserve. The German delayed reserves is anything that's printed 2 days late. We talked about that. Not happening. This is only going to happen if we had a unit that crossed the Meuse River and was able to trace supply. Not even close to happening. The OKW units is quite an impressive fleet, by the way. So if I am somehow able to pull that off, that would be quite nice indeed. We did the card preparation phase, so I already did this. We assembled the ally deck, so this is done. We're in the supply phase. So we skip this. This is on turn 21. We go to Bridge Engineers. So do we want to play a Bridge Engineer card? And let's check. Do I even have a Bridge Engineer card? No, I don't. Look at that. I drew all primaries again. I did not shuffle. You know what I did? I shuffled. I swear to you, I shuffled this deck. I drew the top one, and then I skipped 2 and drew the next one, and then skipped 2 and drew the next one. So I shuffled it so well that all these primaries were like every other card. Oh my gosh, we drew nothing but primaries. So yeah, no engineer, no bridge building capability for us. Okay, so then we do supply status. So we have to check supply for German units. And just a refresher, supply is a path of 0 to 4 hexes to a road that can trace to our edge of the map. So, more or less. You can't go through enemy zone of controls, blah, blah, blah. And then the allies can't go through a west wall, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I'm pretty darn sure everybody can trace. You take any of these, there's roads that go to the east and nobody's blocking it. This unit's, you know, deep in, but these are all German units here. And so everybody has supply. This unit was in semi-trouble. He has supply. If you go all the way up north, supply is not an issue. Now we go to the allies, and I think it's the same answer. We've been, so I read some folks online who play this game, and they somehow are able to push, you know, through the line, right? They're able to bust through the allied line here and go deep into the board. And I can easily see how fuel supply issues are going to be a problem when you do that. Whereas me, I'm sort of pushing a solid line. I'm sort of fighting this like the way that the Russians did, or the Chinese. I'm not really using any blitzkrieg tactics, encircling the enemy or anything. So with my play style so far, I'm in a situation where there's no communication issues, there's no supply issues on either side. So I think we can move on past this step. So now we have to do roadblock removal. Remove any roadblock markers from the map that are not in both German and Allied communication. Well, this roadblock is in Allied communication because we traced a path down here, if you recall. So that's not happening. And then we have to check German fuel shortages. It says, if any card in your hand indicate out of fuel German formations for the actual day, discard the card and place out of fuel markers on the formation units on the map. So I may have gotten super lucky because these primary cards I don't think have out of fuel on them. So yes, that was very, very lucky. Now, just out of curiosity, I'm going to go into the supplemental deck that we did not draw from. And I just want to find an example because this is the first time we're doing this. And here's one right here. So if I would have seen a card like that, the third PG division would be out of fuel. But that's only for turn 22. So that actually wouldn't even apply because we would need one for turn 20. So it's even more specific than that. I mean, that's actually pretty interesting. Yeah, I don't see any for turn 20 here. But let's say it was turn 22. Then what would happen is we would place out of fuel markers on the formation, and then this card would actually get lost. So I wouldn't be able to use it as part of my impulse. And I can play the fuel priority command to override it. So, so there's good news and bad news here. This is the supplemental deck that did not make it into our hand. There's no December 20th on any of these cards. So the bad news I think out of this is that that means that there might be a December 20th card in our deck, but I didn't draw it. And so that's the good news, because this, this German fuel shortage check is done now. It's not, once the impulses start, we don't do that check anymore. So had we drawn it from our deck, we would have been in trouble. And out of curiosity, I am going to check. There's not a single card that has a December 20th out of fuel issue. So that's pretty interesting. So I don't think we had to worry about it, actually. But the rule is now in effect. I don't know why. Maybe I just went through the deck too quick. But I didn't think I saw a December 20th anywhere in there. But the good news is we don't have to do it. Now here's what else is happening this turn. See this assign 1 RP to core starts on December 20th there. We can now start bringing reinforcement points to our core. So we can start healing our units that have been taking damage. So you may start seeing me do a lot of that this today, because we've definitely taken a lot of damage in various places. So I would like to get my forces back up to full strength so we can make another push. We are currently sitting on 7 victory points, but we get more for every 2, we get 1 for every 2 units that have been killed, and I got more than enough to get past 12 victory points. So I'm not worried about victory points at the moment, even though I know it's going to constantly be an issue for me. Okay, so with all that said, let's keep going. We're in our command phase. So we got to play a command, initiate repairs or whatever. Well, I can tell you right now that the reinforcement points is where it's at. So that's here, the assign replacement. So let's see what it has to say and go from there. We can add steps to reduced units in listed core, 1 point per step, only 1 step per impulse. So if I play a card that gives me, let's say, 5 points, I would have to assign those 5 points to 5 different units because every unit can only get 1 point. Completely eliminated units may not return, which is why I was trying to avoid having eliminated units. I do have 2 eliminated units here. These, both of them from the ISS. So that, of course, I'll never be able to get back. But everyone else, I was able to at least keep it reduced. The unit must be supplied, and the hex must be in supply. Must be in supply. So that's a check you would have to do on the spot. Elite unit may only receive a step if all the other units have been healed. So elite units get healed last, is basically what this is saying. Well, hold on. Elite unit may only receive a step if all the only... Oh, yeah. If all the only eligible units in the Corps are elite. Or in other words, everybody else has already been healed. So that's why you've been seeing me try to not damage the elite guys. For many reasons. I mean, the elite guys are elite. So yeah, that's all we need to know as far as that goes. Everything else is pretty much... we are going to have to do this roadblock check and bridge ownership if an active unit adjacent to the roadblock, which might happen because we have a roadblock on the board. So we're going to check this when we get to that point. And for now, let's just get ripping. So I do want to heal. We have an allied command value of 3. So for example, I can play this card with a 2 on it, heal some units, and then play another card, right? Like one of my 3 cards, and you know, do it that way. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to just go in order here. This LXX, so that's what, the 80th Corps. I get to heal 1 point. Boy, this is going to be slow. So I'm going to heal 1 point, and it's these guys. And I'm going to take this bracketed guy that's on the verge of getting destroyed and just flip him over once. That's it. That's my entire impulse there. Nothing more fancy than that. The only thing is I didn't spend 3 points. So now I'm going to... I'm going to do one of my 3-pointers here. These guys are full health. So you may see me actually do some battle with them, but I got to think about this. And then these guys are not full health, so I'm going to activate them next. And I do get 2 research point or reinforcement points. So we actually have quite a few damaged here. You can see that these infantry are damaged. So there's 1, 2 damage there. I think this one's even damaged. Yep, there's all 3 of these guys are damaged. And then I have some tanks that are damaged. So I think we might repair the tanks first. Those are elite, so we can't repair those. They're not damaged anyways. This guy's damaged. He's a tank. And that's it. So I could repair one of these. He's not an elite, so I can repair him right away. So I got him repaired. And then we can come over here and get one of these units. And we get to choose which ones. So I'm going to make him full strength. He's already 3 strength, so let's make... Yeah. All right, so there you have it. I did 2 units there, nothing magical. So now we get to do an allied impulse. So the allies have the 5th Corps. They're going to do a special allies alert. That may only be on turn 16. Let me check that. I think that's only on turn 16. Yeah, so we don't do that one. Then they're going to deploy all the 5th Corps. There are no 5th Corps to deploy. Here we go. Assign 3 reinforcement points. So they're actually going to heal themselves. So let's see if that happens. I'm going to check real quick. Because what if they only have 2 damaged units? I mean, is it as long as 1 person reinforces? I just need to check. My apologies. I want to get it right. Add reduced steps. The Corps has... It only happens if there's 2+ eligible reduced units in play. 1 point per step, only 1 step per unit, just like the Germans. The unit must be supplied, just like the Germans. Okay, so you need at least 2 units to qualify. We might actually not have that because we've eliminated a lot of their units. So for example, these 2 guys are full health. Those 2 are full. There's 1. They only have 1 unit. So they don't do... Yeah, see the clock is striking because it's such a doom for the Allies because they did not have the 2 necessary. Okay, activate all units in the Corps. So that's what's going to happen now. So we draw 3 cards. And we definitely got some new cards coming. So the first one is Fill the Gap. It's got to be a unit proximate to a position to which a German unit is also proximate. Position with HV less than 5 may not be in another Allied zone of control. So they have to preserve the line, avoid surround, and protect VP hexes. So they're in a weird spot. All of them are. Is there a spot that's proximate to a German? Well, let me simplify it here. These are candidates, but they're all less than 5. And so it says that they're only going to go there if it's not next to an Allied zone of control. It may not be in another Allied zone of control. So I can't move any of these units into these spaces because they're already in an Allied zone of control. And then clearly we're not going to go out to these spaces. I don't even think they could move there even if they wanted to. But let's say that they could, they're in danger of surround. So one thing that might be a candidate is this guy back here, but take note, he's also in an Allied zone of control. So the only time they're going to move to fill a gap is to go to a position 5. And I'm not going to forget that this guy is a position 5. The problem is it's the German unit would have to be proximate to that, and there is no way for a German unit to get there. So fill the gap is not going to happen for any of the units. Okay, so now we're going to do something that is only for 1 to 19. It's called Elite Attack. If the unit attack or stack strength is greater than 2 times the German unit stack, if elite, hold on. If who is elite? If the American is elite or if the German is elite? If elite strength is greater than or equal to proximate German unit stack. Okay. Okay, I see. So I need to have double the strength of the Germans unless there's elite units. Then I only need to be greater than or equal to the Germans. That's what that's saying. So it's saying move to the weakest qualifying target and attack. Other proximate units are going to reinforce. If elite, disregard the first A1 result. Break off at first applied A1. Okay, so they're going to try to protect VP and preserve the line, and it looks like they're going to get a tank battalion as well. Okay, so they're going to try to attack us. And they might actually have a candidate here. Right here you can see we have 1. This is only a 2 strength unit, and this is 3. So he would attack here every day and twice on Sundays. In fact, I'm not even sure I need to look anywhere else because this unit would also join. And there's no way to do a reinforce. Well, there is. This unit, for example, can join. So reinforce with an attack. Let me look at it real quick. Yeah. He would join, which would then cause this improvement marker to be destroyed. And then these guys would also join. I mean, they have 6. This is a 6. It said it's going to go after the weakest one. It's definitely this one. And these guys can actually move up and join the battle. So this goes away. And in fact, the nice thing about them attacking us is these are going away too. Okay, so that is going to be the battle. I reinforced them as much as I could without going over stacking limits. And we picked the weakest German unit, and with all these reinforcements, we're actually probably double or triple, maybe even quintuple what their strength is. The Germans are in trouble. So they're also going to get this tank battalion combat action, which is pretty interesting as well. So now the next thing I need to check is I got to make sure that they're all numbered 1 through 19. So this guy, for example, has got a 29 on him, so he can't join. Never mind, it says other proximate units reinforce. So that's an interesting question. This says other proximate units in the same corps reinforce, but this action is only for 1 through 19. This unit is a 29, so he would not do this action, but I'm going to assume that he would still reinforce the action. So yeah, we easily qualify here. There's nothing else going on. There is still 2 more units here, and they can do their own separate attack. What's interesting is they would have if they were elite, and we did have 2 elite units here, but these guys are not elite, so they wouldn't do it. What they would do is they have another action here called advance. So it's only not in zone of control of a supplied German unit. Well, they are, so this would not apply to them. So these guys aren't going to do anything. There's nobody for them to attack at this time, or they don't meet the criteria. Okay, so this is the very first time the Allies are initiating an attack. So let's step through this slowly and figure out what's going to happen here. So we're not doing German attack sequence, we're doing Allied attack sequence, which is going to be a little different. Okay, I want to look up. I don't need to look anything up. So we are in wandering units and bridge ownership. The check unit is referred to as the lead unit. So that lead unit was in the 1 to 19, and so the other ones are just joining per the rules. The situation applies to the lead unit alone. Okay, it's a unit stack. Complete action entirely for lead unit plus others. Okay, so, yeah, they had enough. Never mind. There was a movement point question I was going to discuss, but I thought maybe the units that were next to the Piper division didn't have enough movement, but they did. Okay, so lead unit and attack. Unit must be supplied. So far, so good. Move one at a time. Build improved positions, remove disbursement markers. So I think, here we go, Allied attack sequence. That's what we're looking for. Okay, move proximate attacking units to the target. If called for in an Allied card's instructions, move eligible active Allied units that are proximate to the target to hexes adjacent to the target. Done. That's what we just did. Dispersed units out of supply or isolated units are not allowed to participate in the attack. Not an issue. The 5th Corps is completely fueled up. If all units in a hex with an IP participate in combat as attackers, the IP is immediately removed, which is exactly what we did. If a unit ends its retreat in a hex occupied by a friendly unit that's subsequently attacked, yep, that's just like us. So we're going to draw an allied command card. If the card lists a combat tactic, apply the tactic to the combat. Okay, so I'm going to assume that this here is a tactic that's also added to the combat. So they're going to get tank battalion plus whatever we draw. Doesn't, fully explain that, but it seems to make sense to me. There's no other explanation that would. Oh, here we go. Right there it is. I'm sitting here complaining about it, and it's right here, the next bullet. The action card calling for the attack may list 1 or 2 combat tactics. Apply to all attacks called for by the card. If the allies receive the same combat tactic twice in a single attack, the specific effects of the 2 combat tactics are not cumulative. So yes, we will draw, and they always have a tactic. It's artillery and air power. Oh my gosh. We're getting clobbered here. They're just pulling out all the stops. Okay, we get to play 1 German tactic card. You may play 1 card as a combat tactic for your defending units. You must have 1 supplied unit, not dispersed. Combat tactic applies only to 1 combat. If you play the reinforced battle combat tactic, you may move a German stack to the attack hex in that hex. The total combat strength of the reinforcing unit stack may not exceed that of the defending units. You do check for roadblocks and blown bridges. Okay, so here's what's interesting. We have a stacking issue. Well, no, we don't. Stacking issue is 6 pips. So right now we have 2 pips here. It's only a strength of 2. So I could do a reinforced combat, but what it's saying is I can only bring 2 more strength to the combat. And my problem is I have no reinforced combat. So I do have assault coordination, but that's only for attacker only. So can't do that. I'm running out of options here, folks. I can do artillery, which is something. But like I said, the artillery is pretty weak in this game. I mean, I guess it's powerful when you draw the chit for it. It's just that if you don't draw the chit, then it's worthless. I have fixed artillery, infantry infiltration, which I'm assuming... Oh, I'm on the wrong side. Here, hold on. That's attacker only. Assault coordination is attacker only. So fixed artillery is the only thing I have. I'm in trouble, folks. So I could do a fixed artillery, but I'm not going to. I have a lot of units attacking me here. All right, so we got to draw combat chits from the combat chit 1 by 1 and check to see if the situation on either side of the chit applies, obviously. If so, retain it. If not, set it aside. It counts as a draw. So draw number of chits equal to the defending steps. Continue drawing 1 at a time until number drawn is less than maximum allowed or break off. And here we go. The maximum allowed is 1 per attacker combat tactic. They have 3. Plus 1 if there are elite units. 1 or more. And the answer is yes, so that's 4. 1 for each attacking unit with 3 to 4 steps. Just 4 still. +1 if the defender is out of supply. Nope. Nope. 1 additional combat chit draws per tactic, even if duplicated. Okay. So, very interesting, because it's not the number of units in the combat like it is for the Germans. So that's a pretty interesting distinction. Oh no, right here. Number of attacking units right there that are not bracketed. So what did I say? It was 4, but then we got to add the non-bracketed units. 5, 6, 7. Oh my gosh, there's 8 chits max. Now it says Allied break-off after it takes the first hit, which is the condition on the action card, or German elimination if the hits is greater than or equal to German steps +2. -1 if German surrounded and not adjacent to a supplied German unit. +1 if they're in an IP town, city, or whatever. They're not even in a town. Okay, so we're going to draw 2, because that's the minimum, out of 8. So here we go. So we got to look up dispersed unsupplied. That is not the case. Is there a defender adjacent? Yes, there is. So we get a D-1. So yay, team. This one I'm concerned about. I think we're going to get a 7-to-1 ratio. We only have 2 strength here, and this is 3, 6, 9. So 9 divided by 2, that's already a 4-to-1. And here's 11, 12, 13, 14. So they're 7-to-1. And they are exactly what's needed to do 2 hits to us. So then they're going to do 1 at a time from here on out, up to 8. Here's 3. The attacker is elite. Is the attacker green? Ooh, let's hope they have a green unit there. Let's check. Elite, elite. Oh my gosh, they're all elites. So the break-off is if it's German steps +2. German elimination. Does that mean we're completely eliminated if that happens? Oh my gosh. That's 2, 3. Uh-oh. Is the defender elite? Nope. Is the defender green? Nope. But that's 4. Attacker does not have artillery. Here, we could have had an artillery one. 5. 6. They have Allied air power. 7. It is not a flank attack. It is not a 1 hex attack. And 8. There is a defender adjacent. Okay, so I believe they ignore the first hit. If elite, disregard first A1 result. Break off at first applied. So I think this means they don't take this hit. And we're going to take 2, 3, 4 hits, -1. So we're taking 3 hits ourselves. Does that make sense? So we're taking 3, they're taking none. I'm just going to put all these units aside, and because I think we have to go to the next page to calculate our hits. Okay, reduce hits by 1 if the defender is in a town, city, or an improved position. We're not in any of those. I'm going to check one last time, but I don't think we're in no man's land here. Apply hits. Apply hits by removing 1 step per hit or retreating all units 1 hex per hit. Max of 2 hit hexes and then disperse. Well, we are taking 3 hits here, and I am more than happy to retreat them twice. So I will retreat them. to here, which then causes them to be dispersed. But unfortunately, I am now going to lose one of them, I think. Yep, I have to lose one now. And it's just saying you would avoid elimination at all costs. So that one goes to 2. Yeah, so I'm going to lose another yellow unit. That's now 3 eliminated yellow units. So that sucks. I totally forgot the tank battalion gave them even more strength, I think. Yeah, it adds 1 to their strength and gives them armor, but that's okay. Nothing happened there. So had I applied an artillery, I would have done 1 hit to those guys. I don't know if that would have been worth it or not. But that was very not nice. Not nice. The Allies are meanies. Okay, so that, my friends, was our first thumping in the ass from the Allies, I think. So now there's another chart for applying hits to the Allied units, but they don't take any hits because I think that's what the ignore the first A1 means. And so that's not cool. All right, now it's back to us again. And here's what's funny. I really desperately want to give reinforcement points to Team Yellow. And look, I don't have any yellow. So that is where it hurts us. And the fact that the Allies are now punching back makes it, you know, before I was just confidently just stacking my troops up right next to them, no matter how weak they were. And that backfired on me big time. So anyways, so how do we want to continue this? Here's what's interesting. By them doing what they did, they actually created a doorway for us to pound through their line. They didn't create a gap. Well, they sort of did. So maybe they wouldn't have done what they did. But like this is now a gap, as you can see, that gets through. The Allied card did say preserve the line. So it is possible. Okay. Please forgive me, but I'm going to fix this. It says preserve the line, and this is a gap in the line right now. A gap that did not exist when at least 1 unit stayed there. Are you following me? So everybody else could have still did the shenanigans they did, but this guy had to stay. Okay. Now, that does mean that this is a 3, 6, 9 strength. It's still not double the 6 needed to attack here. So these guys, they would have attacked if they could, but they don't have enough. And we're not allowed to pull him in because it's only pulling in your core, okay? So this is going to keep an improved position. We're going to leave 1 unit there to hold the, preserve the line. But here's the important part to that, and I'm trying to find it so I can show you what I'm talking about. It's in here. Just give me a second. Gosh, I don't know where it went. It was the one that said 7-to-1 attack odds. Because with this change, there is no longer 7-to-1. And remember we said he had exactly 7-to-1? The tank battalion gave him a +1. It was this guy right here. he gave us 2 hits because he had exactly 7 to 1. But because we had to take away a unit that had 3 strength on it, the tank battalion did give them 1 more strength, but that's still 2 strengths short of 7 to 1. So we don't take 2 hits like this says. We don't even have a flank attack. So 2 hits get removed from me. So I actually only have to retreat 1 space, and I take no damage at all. So that's the outcome to that. And I hope you're okay with that understanding. And so which one was it is the question. It was not the airborne. It was this guy. So they would have retreated 1 space, so we would have gone to here, and there's no dispersed units. And it's all because he needed to preserve the line. That's what have created a gap if he would have gone over here like we originally told him to. So now what would have been interesting is if these guys didn't go over here and they stayed here, they actually could have attacked him, the Piper unit. Now, the lead unit is whichever one's the lowest number. And see right there's a 7, and that's an 8. This is a 9, that's an 11, that's a 10. So the 7 goes first. So, oh, actually the 4 goes first. So this attack would have been first, and then it would have pulled as many guys as it needed for that attack, which then meant that these guys don't have enough to do their attack. You start at the lowest number, and you go up. You don't plan for, hey, if I leave 2 units behind on the first attack, I'll then be able to do 2 attacks. That's not the way this game works. So you move everybody up to do the 1 attack, even if it means you don't get to do the 2nd. So that's my understanding of this, and it seems to make sense. And we got lucky. We got extremely lucky because that 7 to 1 odds was going to definitely eliminate a unit. And after further review, that is not the case. Okay, so it's going to get to us, and I apologize, I'm not being super exciting here, but one of the things I was considering was these guys don't need to repair. So I was thinking of activating them and attacking somewhere. And that's why I noticed that that gap appeared in the line, because I was going to exploit that. And I was like, you know what, that's cheating. The rules specifically said don't create a gap. So that's why it actually worked out in my favor, but it sort of didn't, because now I don't have a gap to go through. Okay, so this one are these pink guys down here. I think there is some damage. Nope, he's not damaged. This one's damaged. We have exactly 1 unit damage down here. And that is exactly 1 reinforcement point. So this one is an interesting one, because if we trigger this one, it's going to cause the roadblock check to happen. So that'll be an interesting one when we do it. And then this one here is, where's LXVI? I hate this one because this color, this peach color you see here, does not match the color of the banner. Where are they? I don't even see them. They're 5th Panzer Army. Oh. Okay. This is the ones that's going to trigger the roadblock. This is the one that doesn't match the color. This is supposed to be red. So LXVII are these red units up there, and they are damaged. So yes, I'm going to activate the red core. And you can see here we're going to get 1 reinforcement point. So I'm going to take it. And there's plenty of guys up here to heal. This one should be full strength. It is not. Here's one, and there's one. So we got 2 units here. These guys are green. These ones are not green, so we're gonna heal them. And so that's it. But that was only 2 command points. So now I can play like a 3 command pointer. And so I will do this one. And we're going to activate all the units in the core. I could deploy 1 unit, but I'm not gonna do that. Now, here's the deal. We only have 2 units in the core, or 2 stacks here. And what do we want to do? I think we want to help the Piper unit, but I'm going to have to attack over a river if I do that. And that's a problem. This guy here is a problem because they're elites and there's 2 of them in the stack. The other thing I have to worry about is I'm in the 5th Panzer, so I can't go above the squiggly line. So I'm actually as far north as those guys are allowed to go. No, I'm not. They're in the 6th Panzer. They can go down to this squiggly line. My apologies. They can't go any further south than this. So they can help up north. We do desperately need to punch. I don't have any assault coordination tactics, so I can't get the Piper unit to help us if I were to attack. And that's an issue. Oh. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move these guys into this 4-pointer spot and attack over the river against those guys in an improved position. And then these guys here have enough movement points to go 1, 2, 3, and they're going to go right into that spot that got vacated by my own guys. Hold on a second. There is an advance after combat for the allies, so let me make sure. Okay. Yeah, the allies might actually advance. So let's pause for a second and figure out the advance rules. These guys are going to figure out if they're going to advance into the space that we retreated from. So here's what I got. It's a little bit of a table and it's confusing. Well, only because it's the first time I'm seeing it. But so we have to check for them one at a time in ascending order. That's not a problem. Roll the die, consult the table. If the result falls in a given range, the unit advances. So, number of advancing units already in the hex. Oh, okay, 0, 1, or 2. Okay. All right, so let's figure out what unit's going to go first. I got to come up here. You can see that's 7 and that's 9. 29 and 4. So this 4 is going to roll first. Okay? So I'm going to just roll up here. And you can see I rolled an 8. So let's come back over to here. Well, we got to check. His primary advance is he wants to go into that space that we actually attacked. So there are 0 units in the place that he wants to go. Okay. he would advance, I think, no matter what I roll. I rolled an 8. So he would go to a secondary forward route or town. On a 1 to an 8, or another route on a 1 to a 3. So if the result falls in a given range, the unit advances. Okay, so this is the priority. Advance into surrounded hex or hex of danger of surround only if the hex hold value is greater than or equal to 1. The hex is... No advance if creates or enlarges a gap in the allied line, unless into a VP hex. Lone unit with known zone of control does not check for advance. Check for advance as if 1 unit. Mechanized unit advancing a second hex will deviate from the path. Okay, so here's what's bizarre. There's a lot going on here. A lot of weird logic. Okay, so what it's saying is that they will not move here at all if they're in danger of being surrounded. And you can see I already have these 3 hexes surrounding them and these 3. So the only one that's sparing their bacon is this one. But if I were to move any of my units into here, and that's danger of surround, it's called proximate. It doesn't mean that they're surrounded now, that it can be surrounded. If I move a German unit here, then yes, they are in danger of surround. So they would only advance if the hex's hold value is greater than 1. So I'm going to determine that they would be in danger of surround. Now, one thing that was going through my head is he could advance, and then the other guy doesn't advance because he's a bracket. He won't advance anyways. So then I could say, hey, he's not in danger of surround because no German unit can go to this space because an allied unit's there. That's true. So is that the other way to do this? So let's look up what proximate means again, or I'm sorry, surround, because I think that's going to greatly dictate how this is going to play out. And the allied, or the solo booklet actually has a helpful chart here. And of course now I'm not finding it, but forgive me. Here we go. Avoid surround. Do not move the unit into a hex in which it would be in danger of surround. And danger of surround. German units are proximate to hexes that, if occupied, would surround the Allied. Yeah, they're proximate. So here's my conclusion after all of this. This is a wonderful exercise for advance, but I think the Allied units are realizing, yeah, they beat us back, but we got a whole bunch of armies here, so they're just going to hold their line, and nobody's going to advance. So that means on our turn, we are going to advance right into that spot, and we're going to attack one of these two stacks. I just haven't figured out which one yet. This one I would like to do, but it's going to be harder. But you know what? Harder's our middle name. So we're going to try this one, and we'll resolve this one first. Okay, so that one is a minimum of 2. And we have the nice combat procedure already out already. So it's a minimum of 2, and we have 3, but we're not attacking with advanced units. So minimum of 2, and for us it's 3. And I don't think, we're only going to get to draw 3 chits on this. This is going to suck. But I'm going to go ahead and do it. It's a minimum of 2. Let's put this out here. Here we go. 1, 2. Okay, so are we greater than 1.5 to 1 or less than 1 to 1? Well, we're attacking over a river, so we get cut in half, I believe. Yeah, we're cut in half. So they have a strength of 3, and we have 4, 8, 12. Divided by 2 is 6. We're 2 to 1. So this is going to apply. And then, are they in the woods, forest, or city? They are in a forest. So they canceled their hit. So we're going to draw one more. And they're not in a city. And they're in the woods. So they take no hits and we take 1. Oh, that was awful. That was absolutely awful. Okay, so let's do a hit to one of our guys. I just need to look at them closer. They're all identical. They're all wonderful, lovely, strong troops. So I'm going to go ahead and just damage the top one. All right, let's go to the next battle. They have a minimum of 4 pips, and we're going to be drawing 4 chits. So it's just 4, period. We're just going to draw 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, is it a 1 hex attack? Actually, it is. Or is it a flank attack? It is a 1 hex attack. He is not taking damage, folks. Are we greater than 1 to 1? We should be. He's at 6. We're at 5, 9, 14. We're 2 to 1. So, nope. Less than 4 to 1. Oh my gosh. We're taking 2 hits. Well, so much for this new division we just got. Well, actually, I'll hit 1. Am I really going to disperse them? I think I have to. Oh, what an awful outcome. Okay, so now it's their turn. No command, we're on turn 20, so they get the air power event. And I always forget, when does that thing trigger where they get to go twice? Turn 22. Okay, so now we got to figure out what air power means for them. It just says air power. Okay. Remove an out of supply or isolated marker from one allied unit and all units adjacent to that stack. The units are immediately in supply. If no allied units are eligible for air supply, discard the highest CV card from your hand, your choice if tied. Place the allied air power card in your hand where it counts towards your hand size limit. You may not rid your hand of the allied air power card until your draw pile is exhausted and only allied air power cards remain in your hand. Then discard all allied air power. Okay, so this is going into my hand because there's nobody out of supply, and then I have to choose one of these to not reinforce. I'm going to go ahead and choose this pink one and just discard it. They're both value of 2. So now it's back to my turn, and I'm going to do hold on a second. I was supposed to draw back up to my hand limit. I haven't been doing that, have I? Yeah, I was. Why am I forgetting such basic things? So, these would have all been in my hand. And the card that I'm going to be forced to get rid of is this one, which would have been a real nice one. So that's the one I'm being forced to get rid of. And so yeah, now I got this crappy card in my hand, and I now have to figure out what I'm going to do. So anyways, I'm at an hour, so I will see you soon. Thanks for watching. Stay awesome.